Tonight on CTV3 News, former Cayo West Representative Jorge Milin Espat is shot at near the Belize-Guatemala border amid tensions. A detention is yet to be made. Farmer Rodel Cruz arrested and charged in connection with fatal shooting of 18-year-old Noe Batun in Guinea Grass. And at the Senate, tensions erupt over a proposed amendment to the Sugar Industry Act. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Friday, March 27th, 2026.
From whiskeys and wines to elegantly crafted cocktails. Paired with charcuterie boards and perfectly seasoned steak bites, and much more. Perfect for celebrations, quiet nights, and every special occasion in between. 7 Notes Wine and Spirits, where every sip hits the right note.
ExpressNet now has up to 400 megabytes of high-speed internet. Choose the speed that fits you, from faster browsing to faster gaming. Connect more devices at once, or bundle it with Express Plus and HBO Max. Internet and streaming entertainment, all in one.
Yeah, faster starts here.
Sign up today at any Centaur office or contact us to get started.
When speed matters, every second counts. Get ahead with ExpressNet. Fast, reliable, ready when you are.
Good evening with your newscast, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Jaden Gamis. Former Cayo West Representative Jorge Milin Espat says he was shot at while on his family's property near the Belize-Guatemala adjacency zone in the Cayo district. According to a report made to social media by Espat, the incident occurred while he was walking on his land he says is within Belizean territory. He reported that gunfire came from the Guatemalan side of the border. Espat said Guatemalan police responded quickly after being alerted and made contact with him and others in the area. He emphasized that the interaction was routine and that no one was detained, despite a video circulating online suggesting otherwise. He also noted that he was carrying a licensed firearm at the time, which he says is legally permitted to do while on Belizean soil. Espat commended the responding authorities for their professionalism and stated that he will continue to assess his property despite the incident. He added that Belizeans should feel safe moving freely within the country's border. The matter, according to Belize police, was not officially reported, but authorities are looking into the matter.
We have spoken to the officer in command of Bengueville Hotong, who has advised me that he became aware of the situation via social media. He confirmed that Mr. Espat did not make any report to the Bengueville police station, and the commander indicated that he will be reaching out to Mr. Espat to get his commentary on it. The commander of Bengueville also told me that he had reached out to the officials in the bordering town of Sochitan, I believe, and they in fact confirmed that there was a disturbance, but they did not provide much information aside from that.
Would you urge Mr. Espat to make a complaint at the Benque police station?
As I stated, commander of Bengueville town has stated that he will be reaching out to Mr. Espat, to hear from him in relation to the commentaries that are in the social media.
The Belize Guatemala adjacency zone is a buffer area established to reduce tensions along the long standing territorial dispute between the two countries. Police have arrested and charged a 45-year-old farmer in connection with the fatal shooting of 18-year-old Noe Batun, which occurred over the weekend in Guinea Grass Village, here in the Orange Walk district. As we have reported, the incident occurred at a bar in the village where Batun was socializing. Police say an altercation broke out involving another man who was later escorted off the premises. Authorities report that the suspect returned shortly after with another individual and allegedly fired a shot into the establishment. Batun was struck multiple times during the attack. He was initially taken to the Northern Regional Hospital and later transferred to the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital for further treatment. Despite medical efforts, he succumbed to his injuries. One person was initially detained in connection with the shooting while police looked for the shooter. On Thursday, police formally arrested and charged Rodel Jesus Cruz, a Belizean farmer of Guinea Grass Village.
As a consequence of the ongoing investigation into the shooting death of Noe Batun, which occurred on 22nd March 2026 in Guinea Grass Village, Orange Walk District, police have formally arrested and charged 45-year-old Rodel Jesus Cruz, a Belizean farmer of Guinea Grass Village, for the crime of murder.
It is noted that while Rodel Cruz owned a licensed shotgun, however, it has not yet been established to be the murder weapon. The Senate convened today amidst intense debate over a proposed amendment to the Sugar Industry Act, which seeks to prolong tax and duty exemptions for Belize Sugar Industries, BSI. The discussion centered on balancing economic support for the country's sole sugar factory with concerns over fairness and industry practices. Senator for Government Business, Amon Courtney, emphasized the importance of the exemption extensions, arguing that without these incentives, BSI's financial stability could be jeopardized.
Let us understand what we're talking about. Belize Sugar Industry Limited employs 650 Belizean workers. So when people grandstand and attack companies, they must understand that they are talking about Belizean workers. Senator Arana spoke from personal knowledge, not from AI, personal knowledge. There are over 5,000 cane farmers. The majority of them are small cane farmers who support their family, who stimulate the economy of this country, who produce significant foreign exchange for this country by farming sugarcane. And let us recall, it was under the United Democratic Party government that the Libertad Sugar Factory shut down. The point I make, Madam President, we can stand here and we can posture, we can profile, and we can grandstand. There is a risk that we are facing in the sugar industry, both in the field and in the factory. You see? You hear? You hear? You don't share? Why you never ask? No, we get up and we profile and we posture and we talk like we know. We know this, we know that, we know the other. This is what may happen. Ask the question, accountability and transparency, please. Try. Come again. Madam President, the facts are Belize Sugar Industry Limited and the Belize Cogeneration Company Limited have lost in excess of $50 million in the last 5 years. And I ask you to believe me, I'm telling you the facts. Madam President, the facts are that BSI and Belcogen have lost money in 7 consecutive years, and this year will be the 8th consecutive year.
However, the proposal encountered strong opposition for both union representatives and opposition senators. Union Senator Glenfield Dennison questioned who truly benefits from the bill, highlighting that BSI is a multinational corporation whose profits are not being shared with local cane farmers in accordance with fair trade premium commitments.
The question before us is simply this. That's what this bill is about. Madam President, do we prioritize multinational profits or do we stand with the Belizean farmers? That's what supporting this bill is about. You see, any concession that you make needs to be in the national interest. And how more so than ensuring for this exemption that those who produce the sugar, you don't got no sugar industry without the sugar. So how national interest is not being tied directly to ensuring that those who are producing the wealth, the farmers, are paid what is rightfully theirs. That is what this is about. I say, Madam President, there should be no tax relief without fairness. None. No concessions without accountability. None. And quite frankly, farmers are workers too. So there should be no decision that is to the disadvantage of Belizean farmers.
Adding to the criticism, UDP Senator Patrick Faber urged his colleagues to oppose the amendment outright. He warned that the bill would grant extensive concessions for another 10 years, including the elimination of withholding taxes on dividends and interest, as well as exemptions from customs, excise, and stamp duties. In the end, the vote reflected a divided chamber. 8 senators voted in favor, 4 opposed, and 1 was absent. Most recent figures from the Statistical Institute of Belize shows that the country's economy expanded by 4.7% in the fourth quarter of 2025, with total production valued at $1.396 billion, up from $1.333 billion during the same period in 2024. Growth was recorded across all major sectors, with the strongest contributions coming from the primary and tertiary industries. Taxes on products also rose by 4.6% to $174.8 million. The primary sector grew by 8% to $180.3 million, driven by increased agricultural and marine production. Banana output rose by nearly 20%, while grains such as corn and beans also saw gains. The fishing industry expanded, supported by higher shrimp and lobster exports. However, declines were recorded in citrus production, livestock, and petroleum extraction. The tertiary sector remained the largest contributor to the economy, increasing by 4.7% to $871.9 million. This growth was led by an 18% expansion in financial and insurance services, alongside gains in wholesale and retail trade, government services, and tourism. Tourist arrivals rose modestly, with overnight visitors up to 2.3% and cruise passenger arrivals increasing by 13.9%. The secondary sector recorded a smaller increase of 2%, reaching $169.3 million. This was mainly due to a 10% rise in construction activity, supported by higher imports of building materials and increased lending for construction. Despite the overall growth, some areas showed declines. Manufacturing output fell slightly, electricity generation dropped as more power was imported, and no sugar cane was harvested during the quarter compared to the same period of last year. Overall, the fourth quarter performance reflects broad-based economic growth supported by agriculture services and construction activity. As it relates to the Consumer Price Index, the Statistical Institute of Belize reports that the country's inflation rate stood at 0.7% in February 2026. With the All Items Consumer Price Index CPI rising to 120.6, up from 119.8 in February of 2025. The increase in consumer prices was driven mainly by higher costs of food, housing, utilities, and restaurant services. Prices for food and non-alcoholic beverages rose by 1.4%, with notable increases in meats, sugar, vegetables, and beverages such as coffees and juices. However, food prices declined, helping the moderate overall food inflation. Housing and utilities increased by 1%, largely due to higher electricity rates, though this was partially offset by a slight decrease in liquefied petroleum gas prices. Restaurant and accommodation services recorded a 3.1% increase, while health and clothing also saw notable price hikes. In contrast, the transport category declined by 2.8% as fuel prices fell across the board. The price of regular gasoline dropped by 91 cents per gallon, with similar decreases from petroleum gasoline and diesel. Regionally, Punta Gorda Town recorded the highest inflation rate at 2.2%, while Orange Walk Town saw the lowest increase at 0.2%. On a month-to-month basis, inflation rose by 0.6% between January and February of 2026, driven by higher transport, electricity, and restaurant costs. For the year to date, inflation averaged 0.4%, with increases led by food, housing, restaurant services, and health, while transport costs declined due to lower fuel prices. Coming up next, we'll tell you about a senior police officer who has been reprimanded for cannabis possession. Stay tuned.
The Orange Walk Town Council is inviting applications from suitably qualified and motivated individuals to fill 5 garbage fee collector positions within our revenue department. Minimum requirements: high school diploma, friendly and people-oriented personality, tech-savvy, must own reliable transportation, preferably a motorcycle, honest and dependable. Interested applicants are asked to submit the following documents: application letter, copy of high school diploma, valid social security card, 2 character references. Applications must be submitted in person to the Orange Walk Town Council office by February 20th, 2026. Join our team and contribute to keeping Orange Walk clean and organized.
From whiskeys and wines to elegantly crafted cocktails, paired with charcuterie boards and perfectly seasoned steak bites, and much more. Perfect for celebrations, quiet nights, and every special occasion in between. 7 Notes Wine and Spirits, where every sip hits the right note.
The Civil Registry Department and Vital Statistics Unit provides comprehensive information services to assist citizens in obtaining official documentation related to key life events. You can apply for birth, death, marriage, adoption, or deed poll certificates for records that have already been registered. You can also request tailored information extracts or certified copies of documents about specific life events. All vital statistics information services are available through the new Civil Registry and Vital Statistics System, CRVS. You can complete all services online from the comfort of your own home, or if you prefer face-to-face interaction or need additional support, you can visit their nearest office to complete any service. The new CRVS, digitally connecting citizens to all vital statistics services. Visit crvs.gov.bz today to access our services.
There is a saying I often return to, and that is a Chinese saying, that says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Today, Belize chooses now because Belize has always lived under the shade of the tree. Remember Sobumbra floreo. Our forests, mangroves, rivers, and farms are not just features of our landscape, they are part of who we are as a people. They protect us from storms, feed our families, support livelihoods, and anchor our resilience in a changing climate. But we also know this truth. What we do not protect, we will eventually lose.
Greening Belize, 1 million trees for climate and sustainable development. Our forest cover is declining, especially after the fire season. What will be achieved? Restore and reforested lands, significant increase in hectares restored by 2035. Enhanced carbon sequestration. We'll have improved data, mapping and reporting systems with this. Institutional readiness, feasibility study and design for a national forestry incentive program. Community mobilization, which will build capacity and increase participation nationally, and improve governance.
For all environmentally conscious individuals and groups, CBOs, NGOs, community organizations, universities, come in to do their part to plant trees to assist in the restoration initiative for the country of Belize.
When speed matters, every second counts. Get ahead with ExpressNet. Fast, reliable, ready when you are.
A senior public officer attached to the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, has been remanded to custody following a police operation in Belmopan that uncovered more than 16 pounds of suspected cannabis. Police say that on Thursday, officers conducted a search at the residence of 45-year-old Andrew Wade, located at 8 Starkley Hill in the Piscini area of Belmopan City. During the search, authorities reportedly discovered 10 parcels of cannabis wrapped in plastic. The drugs, weighing approximately 16.3 pounds, have an estimated street value of $20,000. Wade, who serves as communications officer within NEMO, has since been formally charged and remanded as investigations continue.
Police have formally arrested and charged Andrew Wade, a 45-year-old public servant of Belmopan City, for the offense of possession of controlled drugs with intent to supply to another. The arrest follows police's execution of a search warrant at a residence in the Piscini area of Belmopan in the presence of Mr. Wade. This search resulted in the discovery of 10 parcels of suspected cannabis, which, when weighed, amounted to 16.3 pounds.
Police today shared some new information on the ongoing investigation in the shooting death of Andy Suezo. Ongoing investigations by police are pointing towards the incident having been self-inflicted. According to police, Suezo was reportedly socializing with a friend on a property in Camalote on March 17th when a firearm discharged, striking him in the upper body. He was rushed to the hospital but later succumbed to his injuries. At a recent police press briefing today, Assistant Superintendent Stacy Smith confirmed that investigators have collected multiple statements, including caution statements, and have completed a post-mortem examination. The findings have since been compiled into a case file, which will be forwarded for further guidance.
Accident, and the evidence that we have gathered so far is in support of that. However, it is not a closer investigation. We continue to investigate this matter in the interest of being thorough.
Was it self-inflicted?
As I stated, Mr. Vasquez, the investigation is ongoing. Yes, the indication that we have received in relation to the evidence that we have is that it may have been accidentally self-inflicted. We have recovered the firearm. We have recorded open statement and caution statement. The post-mortem examination, the doctor was not able to conclusively come down on any position either side. So it is still an ongoing investigation, and where the evidence takes us, that is where we will go.
Confirmed that the firearm involved in the incident has been recovered and was determined to be illegal. Nadia Calles has secured a second term as president of the Belize National Teachers Union, BNTU, following a unanimous endorsement by members during this week's national convention held at the Civic Center in Belize City. The convention, a key annual event gathering teachers and union supporters from across the nation, saw Calles reaffirm her leadership after no other candidates came forward.
It feels great. It feels great simply because I see this as members believing in my leadership and the things that I'm doing. So I'm truly grateful for them, for giving me another opportunity to once again considering. A matter of fact, I wasn't really thinking about running, but members kept coming and asking me to run. And then there was a person who dared me, and almost 2 years. I was officially elected the 4th of April, 2024 in Belmopan. So it's almost 2 years.
How have those 2 years been?
Rough. It looks easy when you see the benefits, but behind the scenes, it has not been easy. When you're talking leadership of this nature, you have sleepless nights. I am my own Secretary General because we don't have a Gen Sec at the BNTU. So I have to get most of those work done. So I get up and I work until wee hours in the morning. Sometimes I start at 2 and I conclude around 7. Then I hit the road and I come and I deal with the meetings and everything else. So I do both. But the union needs this. I said to myself, I'm going to give it my all to bring it to the level where it ought to be. BNTU has a lot of potential and we have not been capitalizing on those potential. And after listening to members, I realized that it's time.
For Calles, transformative change is of utmost importance for the BNTU to reach several goals that she has lined up for her second term.
2 years.
Okay, one of them is connected to institutional strengthening. I have discovered that most of my members don't understand what it means to be a part of a union, how we operate. I need them to get that. The next thing is for us to increase the benefits. Nobody wants to be paying $20, and the only 2 benefits we have is debt claim and grievance. Members are asking for more. Hence the reason why you notice that I'm partnering with Lands Department, I'm partnering with DFC, I partner with BTL, I partner with Sagicor. There are so many other entities that we partner with to increase the benefit, but in-house, we too need to offer more to our members. So today we have a new due structure that we're presenting because built into that are these benefits that they're asking for. So you have to pay more, you have to pay a little bit more to get a lot more.
What's the size right now of the membership?
Based on the database that we have, we're over 4,000. But there's still a few, that's an increase. There are still a few persons in there who joined us with the instant payment, and there's no salary reduction. So you'll find that they're lapsing. It's not a huge group. And those are the people we're trying to catch up on and get them on, because we don't pay teachers. The deductions are made by the management. And when the management fail to carry out that request, because it's a deduction, but it's also a request, then we find ourselves in this position that we are in right now with that small group.
So might you change the method of payment or no?
I have instituted online payment. We now have a POS machine. I am putting everything, in fact, it's already in place. So that teachers cannot say, I don't know how to pay, I don't know what to do. So we're
And while discussions persist with the Lands Department, Kali says there is also constant dialogue with the Ministry of Education.
I cannot complain. If I complain, I'm lying. But there are areas of improvement still yet. And what I love is that he listens and we come up, together with workable solutions to these challenges, because it is a lot. We're taking it one step at a time. And that's what I'm telling my members. One step at a time, one step at a time, and then we should be able to solve most of the challenges.
To the recently released figures of SIB, we turn over to external trade for the month of February. Belize's merchandise imports totaled $214.6 million in February 2026, a slight decrease of 1.7% or $3.8 million compared to $218.4 million in February of 2025. The decline was driven mainly by reduced imports in key categories. Food and live animals fell sharply by $11.4 million due to lower purchases of orange concentrate and other food items. Imports to the commercial free zone also dropped by $5.1 million, largely from decreased cigarette imports. Smaller declines were recorded in crude materials and chemical products. These decreases were partially offset by increases in other areas. Imports of manufactured goods rose by $5.3 million, supported by higher purchases of construction materials, while machinery and transport equipment also increased by $5.3 million due to imports of electrical transformers. Mineral fuels and lubricants were up by $4.2 million, reflecting higher fuel imports. For the first 2 months of 2026, total imports grew by 5.3% to $485.7 million, driven mainly by machinery, fuel, and beverage imports, despite a notable decline in food imports. Meanwhile, domestic exports for February 2026 totaled $20.5 million, down 12.9% or $3 million from $23.5 million in February of 2025. The decline in exports was led by reduced earnings from sugar, which fell by more than half, along with decrease in citrus products, molasses, banana, and other agricultural goods. Lower global prices and reduced export volumes contributed to the downturn. In contrast, marine products recorded strong growth, increasing by $1.7 million due to high lobster and shrimp exports. Red kidney beans and animal feed also posted gains. By destination, export earnings fell from the United Kingdom, CARICOM, and the United States, while revenues from other markets and Central America increased, supported by marine products and animal feed. For the first 2 months of the year, domestic exports totaled $40 million, a slight decrease of 2% compared to the same period in 2025, as declines in sugar, citrus, and molasses offset gains in the marine products and bananas. In a decisive move towards transforming climate commitments into tangible results, Caribbean Community (CARICOM) Environment Ministers convened in Georgetown from March 26 to 27th of 2026 for the 124th special meeting of the Council for Trade and Economic Development, coded Environment and Sustainable Development. Chaired by Honorable Orlando Abet, Minister of Sustainable Development, Climate Change and Solid Waste Management, The gathering marked a critical step in regional efforts to combat climate change and protect biodiversity, also strengthening sustainable development. The ministers focused on accelerating the implementation of national and regional climate priorities, including strengthening national determined contributions, NDCs, adaptation strategies, and responses to loss and damage, issues that are increasingly pressing for small island developing states, SIDS. A unanimous call emerged for enhanced coordination across sectors and integration of climate action into national development planning to ensure resilience and sustainable growth. A central challenge identified was access to climate finance. Ministers highlighted persistent obstacles such as complex application procedures, limited technical capacity, and delays in disbursing vital funds. In response, CARICOM called for simplified, accessible funding mechanisms tailored specifically for SIDS, along with expanded technical support and faster, more predictable financing channels. Engagement with development banks and climate funds underscored the need for better alignment with national priorities and increased readiness support. The meeting also prioritized biodiversity conservation, emphasizing the protection of vital ecosystems like mangroves, coral reefs, and seagrass beds, key to safeguarding livelihoods, coastal defenses, and regional economies. Concluding the meeting, ministers reaffirmed their collective agreements, our commitment to regional cooperation and unified engagement on the global stage. They pledged to keep the interests of SIDS at the forefront of international climate negotiations, ensuring that the region's voices translate into meaningful, measurable progress. With climate change posing existential threats to the Caribbean, the 124th coded meeting signals a renewed regional resolve to turn commitments into action, an essential step toward safeguarding the future of the Caribbean's people, ecosystems, and economies. There is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
From whiskeys and wines to elegantly crafted cocktails. Paired with charcuterie boards and perfectly seasoned steak bites, and much more. Perfect for celebrations, quiet nights, and every special occasion in between. 7 Notes Wine and Spirits, where every sip hits the right note.
When speed matters, every second counts. Get ahead with ExpressNet. Fast, reliable, ready when you are.
They got so much things to say right now. They got so much things to say.
The way some people are talking, you'd never know, but the most blatant nepotism and fleecing of BTL took place under UDP when Dean Barrow was Prime Minister. Barrow placed his son Anwar on BTL's board in 2009 as soon as he nationalized the company, which would eventually cost Belizeans almost $650 million for shares barely worth $200 million. By 2014, Anwar was appointed executive chairman with extravagant salary and perks. Under him, BTL spent wildly on ventures that did not materialize and never brought any returns. Under the Barrows, BTL's profits plummeted from $38 million in 2009 to $17 million in 2019, and $10 million in 2020, as the company hardly paid dividends to government and people of Belize. Anwar Barrow has no moral authority to talk about BTL, as it was under his nepotistic rule, appointed by his father, that BTL was most blatantly fleeced.
They got so much things to say right now. They got so much things to say.
Finally, a postpaid plan for 3 people. Introducing Smart Trio. Why pay for mobile service alone when you can share and save? Get unlimited national calls, texts, plus 100 gigabytes of shared data. And the best part? It's only $135. That's right, as low as $45 per person. Perfect for small families, couples, or close friends. Smart Trio, 3 lines, 1 smart choice. Sign up now and you could win a Trio getaway to San Pedro for 3. Visit us at www.smart-bz.com for more information or sign up at any showroom today. Smart, bringing people together.
This building that we have gotten, the Welcome Center, is not just walls and it's not just here to beautify the Punta Gorda town and as an extension the Toledo district and Belize, but it's also here to play a main purpose and a role, and that is to continue to promote our tourism sector in Belize. This provides us a platform and a venue for us to be able to do multiple things in working towards enhancing the tourism environment in Toledo and really showcasing it not only to locals but also to our international guests, which are paramount for us to continue to grow this industry.
This project, like others that we're working on throughout the country, was designed and is being delivered by Belizeans. We have spoken to the communities, we've spoken to tourism stakeholders and what needs to be done to ensure that we have the necessary infrastructure to improve the quality of the visitor experience.
On March 26th of 2026, a high-level meeting between officials from the government of Belize and representatives from the Mexican state of Quintana Roo was held. The gathering aimed to reinforce both parties' ongoing commitment to regional collaboration and strategic partnership, with a focus on advancing mutual interests and updating their existing cooperation framework. Central to the discussions was the revision of the Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) between the two entities, emphasizing shared priorities such as investment promotion, infrastructure integration, and regional development initiatives. Participants explored ways to synchronize factory development in Belize and Quintana Roo to bolster economic growth, while also examining how the Tren Maya railway project could connect seamlessly with Belize's transport systems and the Port of Belize. Key highlights from the meeting include updates on the MOU, strategies for attracting joint investments to serve the CARICOM markets, and the development of logistic hubs and secondary industries between the two regions. The agenda also featured presentations on environmental preservation, specifically beach erosion, mitigation, and social issues like gender-based violence prevention in Quintana Roo. Additionally, opportunities in energy, agriculture, and agro-processing sectors were discussed, alongside cultural initiatives such as Belize-Mexico Friendship Week. Participants also shared best practices for mangrove reforestation, underscoring their commitment to environmental sustainability. This strengthened cooperation is expected to foster vibrant business exchanges between Belize and Quintana Roo's private sectors. The collaboration aims to facilitate easier information sharing and unlocking new opportunities across tourism, cultural exchange, agro-industry, education, and custom services, creating a closer economic and social link between the two regions. The meeting was attended by notable Belizean officials, including Minister of Human Development, Family Support and Gender Affairs, Honorable Tia Garcia Ramirez, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Trade, and Belize's Ambassador to Mexico, H.E. Oscar Arnold. The Mexican delegation was led by Ingeniero Artemio Santos, Maestro Antonio Benitez Dominguez, and Dr. Pedro Citlak Chagoy Lutzanu, among others. Representatives from various organizations also participated, including the Inter-American Development Bank, the IDB, the Corozal Free Zone Management Agency, and several ministries such as investments, blue economy, tourism, and immigration. The event culminated with a site visit to the Port of Belize, reaffirming both sides' commitments to ensuring that regional growth benefits citizens on both sides of the border. Belize's government has taken a significant step toward modernizing its employment laws, announcing the appointment of Trinity Consultancy Services to lead the first phase of the comprehensive review of the Labor Act, Cap 297 of the revised edition of 2020. This strategic move underscores the nation's dedication to updating its labor framework to better mirror current workforce realities, meet international standards, and enhance protections for both employees and employers. Kicking off officially on March 27, 2026, the consultancy's initial phase will involve an in-depth analysis of the existing legislation and institutional arrangements. This process aims to identify gaps, inconsistencies, and enforcement hurdles, laying the groundwork for targeted reforms that will address pressing challenges and opportunities within Belize's labor market. This review arrives at a crucial juncture as Belize grapples with shifting workplace environments characterized by emerging employment models, rapid technological advances, and a heightened focus on occupational health and safety. The effort also aligns with Belize's international commitments under ratified International Labour Organization (ILO) conventions and support national development strategies, notably the Decent Work Country Program 2024 to 2029. Over the course of 4 months, the consultancy will engage extensively with key stakeholders, including government entities, employers association, workers organizations, and social partners. This inclusive approach emphasizes tripartite collaboration and social dialogue, ensuring that diverse perspectives shape the reform process. Ms. Tanya Santos, the Chief Executive Officer at the Ministry of Immigration, Governance and Labor, highlighted the importance of this initiative. This review marks a vital step toward ensuring Belize's labor laws are current, inclusive, and responsive to today's economic and social realities. We are dedicated to a transparent, participatory process that will strengthen our labor administration and promote decent work for all Belizeans. The Labor Departments, under the guidance of the Labor Commissioner, will oversee the project, working closely with the Labor Act Review Committee and the ILO to ensure alignment with international best practices. As Belize moves forward with this ambitious reform effort, the government looks forward to the successful completion of this phase, paving the way for a far more equitable and resilient labor landscape in the country. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Monday, March 30th, here on CTV3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at www.ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/CTV3BelizeNews or our YouTube channel at CTV3NewsBZ. From all of us here at CTV3, have a safe and pleasant weekend. Thank you for watching and listening, and have a splendid night.